Hello and welcome to the Cache Metal Market Overview. I'm Jasmine Bowen and you are listening exclusively for AM 640. Every Thursday at 7:05 p.m. we will be bringing you the news from around the globe as it affects our economy and the precious metal market. In the news this week, there are new riots in Athens as well as continued civil unrest in Turkey and Iran. But let's bring it a little closer to home today. We are joined by Robert Rosenzweig, CEO of Cache Precious Metals. Now, Robert, please lend us your opinion on what's going on with the U.S. unemployment rate. It's actually gotten better. The numbers have released and there's been a lot of jobs created. So what's going on?
Hi, Jasmine. What's really happened is the U.S. unemployment numbers came in at 7.8% compared to 8.1%. It was a whopping 30 basis point drop. I actually believe the numbers are false. What's really occurring is people getting very frustrated, dropping out of the job market. You also have U.S. elections coming up that could have affected the number. The real number, I believe, is well over 10%. Revisions that are going to come in month over month will reflect that. You have the fiscal cliff coming into play in January. In my opinion, that's a complete scam. I think it's an election ploy. You ask the people in the U.S. how they feel about that, they're going to say it very clearly, not very good. I speak to clients all the time from the States, and just last week, a whole bunch of them were telling me exactly that.
Now, can you explain the fiscal cliff for our listeners who may not be up to date on the latest lingo?
The Coles notes of this new fiscal cliff coming into play, it's a set of new taxes implemented to the tune of around $3,500 per family household. It's put in to offset the national debt. Let me try to make it in even more layman terms. The U.S. people have been paying for these problems that have been happening in the banking sector for a few years now. So let's assume you're out for dinner and having fun with your family and the bill comes. Not only on your bill is your bill, but sitting next to you, you have the bill from the table next door. A bunch of U.S. banking execs sitting there smiling, lifting their wine glasses, saying thanks. It sounds insane, but that's what's really happening. The U.S. right now, I believe, is heading into another recession. I would warn the folks out there to start preparing themselves for another economic hurricane. The way to do that is buying physical gold and silver. Don't wait till it's too late and you get flooded and inundated and say, I shoulda, coulda, when you actually can right now. There's also even talks about a QE4. It sounds just absolutely whacked, but it is true. I don't know when they're going to stop turning these printing presses off, and honestly, it's tremendous for business at Cache Metals and its clients, but I really believe enough is enough.
Now, let's shift topics just a little bit. Let's talk about silver and gold, physical gold versus paper gold, like mining stocks. I know you're the expert on this, so go right ahead.
Well, on the actual Cache Metals website, we've got a guide for precious metals. It tells you every way you can buy precious metals. But when you buy physical gold and silver, you're buying peace of mind. You can touch it, you can feel it. When you're talking about mining companies, I think that's a whole other subject matter. I really believe it's a complete disaster. Let me give you an example. You have the GDX, which is a basket of top quality mining companies traded on the New York Stock Exchange. The last 5 years, the return on that has been flat. You're looking over the return of gold in that same time period, it was well over 300%. If you really believe in buying gold, you need to own the physical property of it. You don't want to subject yourself to the input costs that you could see when you buy oil, for instance. Input costs is really the cost that is incurred by trying to get it out of the ground. You also have political issues when you buy mining companies. Another prime example is in Venezuela. You had great quality mining companies who lost its right to mine. What ended up happening was those stocks went to zero. When you buy gold and silver, assure yourself on one thing, it could never go to zero. So get the insurance you deserve, and there's really no substitute in the actual physical metal itself. I will also say, if there's any questions out there that anybody has, the staff at Cache Metals is very knowledgeable. I really do challenge everyone out there to find anyone more knowledgeable, any other firm than Cache Metals. We pride ourselves because this is all we do. Whether you choose to store your metal, take your metal home, we are the industry leaders when it comes to price, service, and availability. And right now, we've actually opened up several locations where you can just walk on storefront and buy bars and coins just to get started. It is something that definitely, guys, you should check out.
Well, Well, thank you very much for joining us today. That's been Robert Rosenzweig, the CEO of Cache Precious Metals, and you've been listening to the Cache Metals Market Overview exclusively for AM 640. Whether you're a beginner or a serious investor, we'll be bringing you the news from around the globe as it affects our economy and the precious metal market. I'm Jasmine Bowen, and I hope that you'll tune in next week. See you then.